The SEC made big news yesterday, but I'm going to talk about how this could legitimately affect the Illini moving forward.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome one, welcome all to another edition of Locked On Illini. Thank you all so much for making us your first listen each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is right around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now. My name is Sonny Verma, your host here at Locked On Illini, where I continue to provide you coverage daily, every single day, especially now that football season is literally 1 week from today, when this episode is released. Football season right around the corner. The content is absolutely not going to stop. All the information that you find on this channel is always absolutely free. The only thing I ask for in return is if you can make sure you hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. That helps me continue to get this community growing more and more. Speaking of community, special shout out to the Talk Illini Discord, where we've got over 300 Illini fans talking back and forth all day, every day. Right now, the discourse seems to be a little worry about whether the Illini have a wide receiver that's going to be able to replace the 2 stars that we had last year. If you want to join that community, please do. Link should be in the description. As for today's episode, I wanted to talk about, I know we're all dialed in on Champaign and what's happening with Bret Bielema's team, but sometimes it's Friday. You can just sit back and zoom out a little bit, because what happens in the broader college football landscape can directly impact Illinois. And yesterday, Thursday, depending on when you're watching this, the SEC dropped a bombshell. In 2026, they're moving permanently to the 9-game conference schedule and mandating that every school plays at least one non-conference game against another power conference opponent or Notre Dame. So I want to break this down, because we'll talk about what it means for the SEC, but I think what it's more important is what it means for the Big Ten and, of course, the Illini. Because trust me, even though it sounds like it's an SEC headline, this is going to affect college football and the Illini in a big way. So if you missed the news, here's the deal. The SEC, we all know, has been dragging its feet for years when it comes to the 9-game thing. The Big Ten Conference already plays 9 conference games. The Pac-12 did also as well before it got dissolved. And the SEC has gotten a lot of criticism for sticking to their 8 games. That gave their schools a chance to schedule an extra cupcake. The Citadels, the Mercers, the Chattanoogas, right in the middle of November when everyone else was grinding through their Big Ten slate. But looks like that's over now. 9 SEC games every year, plus 1 required power non-conference opponent. That means you're guaranteed at least 10 big boy games every single season. And they're protecting rivalries. Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Florida, Texas, Oklahoma. All that is going to stay intact, while also making sure everyone rotates the league faster. No more going a decade before you play somebody from the other division, because, divisions are, they're gone. Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, basically came out and said, this is what fans want. No more cupcakes, more meaningful games. And I'll tell you what, if you are an everydayer, you know that, quite honestly, he's right. This is something that I've been clamoring for. This reminds me more of what college football used to be. And so I have to tip my hat to the SEC. But overall, this news story, this is why it matters for Illinois. Here's the reality. When the SEC raises its standard, essentially everybody else is going to start feeling the heat. I mean, it works vice versa too. It was the Big Ten who put the heat on the SEC in regards to bumping up to 9, and the SEC responded. Well, the Big Ten already plays 9 games, but there's no rule to have to schedule another power opponent out of conference. And let's be real. Some teams do it. Ohio State, Illinois. Some teams don't. Indiana does not have a Power 4 opponent on their schedule until, I believe, 2030. Again, Illinois, we've got Duke lined up. We've got Missouri lined up. And that's a good, solid start. But you still do see games against Eastern Illinois, Illinois State, and Western Illinois. And there's nothing wrong with those games. They serve a purpose. And for the local FCS programs, those are huge paydays. But now, when the SEC is mandating 10 real games a year, how's that going to look to the College Football Playoff Committee when they're stacking resumes side by side? If Alabama is 10-2 with 10 top-tier games, and let's just say Illinois is 9-3 with 9, who gets the nod? This is where the SEC's decision becomes the Big Ten's problem, and therefore Illinois' problem. Remember, the playoff we know is probably going to be expanding. We're at 12 now. Eventually, it'll probably move to 16. That's supposed to make access easier for programs like Illinois. But here's the catch. Resume strength matters more than ever. If the SEC is guaranteeing that its middle-tier teams, let's just say Kentucky, South Carolina, are playing 10 tough games, well, then the middle of the Big Ten better keep up. Illinois is not yet at the level of an Ohio State or Penn State. We're not walking into the playoffs just by winning 11 games. The Illini will have to build a resume that shows that strength of schedule. Beating Missouri, playing and beating Duke, that's going to absolutely help. But if the Big Ten doesn't follow the SEC's lead and require a power non-conference opponent, well, then other teams in the Big Ten are going to be at risk being seen as weaker just by comparison. And I'll give credit to Bret Bielema here. It was him at Big Ten meetings this past summer where he flat out said, we don't need to expand the playoff to 16 unless the SEC is playing 9 league games like us. He saw this coming, and now that the prediction has come true, well, the pressure is on the Big Ten Conference to respond. And that pressure is squarely on Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti. The Big Ten can't just sit on its hands here. Fans and media are always going to be asking, will the Big Ten now require one power non-conference opponent every year? Imagine if they did. That means Illinois' schedule could look like this: 9 Big Ten games, Missouri, and then Duke or another solid opponent. That's 11 real games. Suddenly, every Saturday is must-watch. Makes for better TV, better ticket sales, and frankly, a better fan experience. It also sets up opportunities. What if, hypothetically, we finally got what I think most people would love to have, and that's a Big Ten and SEC challenge. Bielema even floated that idea. Imagine Illinois versus Arkansas in the Bret Bielema Bowl, or maybe Illinois versus Ole Miss in a Week 1 matchup every couple of years. Lane Kiffin and Bret Bielema taking jabs at each other through the media. That's national spotlight football, and that's how you grow a program's brand. But we can't forget about recruiting. This move by the SEC is going to give every coach in that league another bullet point in living rooms. Come here, and you're going to be playing 10 big boy games every single year. No cupcakes. You'll be on national TV consistently, and we know that actually genuinely matters. Illinois can counter by pointing to Missouri, by pointing to Duke, and potentially pointing to more SEC or ACC matchups if the Big Ten responds. The truth is, high school kids want to be on the big stage. They want the lights, the cameras, the primetime matchups. If Illinois can keep scheduling up, it's going to sell the program nationally. So what does this all boil down to for Illini Nation? Opportunity and challenge. Opportunity, because if Illinois keeps building under Bret Bielema and keeps stacking power opponents, they'll have a schedule that absolutely will be noticed by the playoff committee. Challenge, because the road just got tougher. There's no sneaking by with 3 easy non-conference wins and hoping to make noise. Every week is going to count. For fans, though, at least for me, I speak only for myself, this is a win. More big games at Memorial Stadium. More chances to measure yourself against national programs. And hopefully that leads to more fun on Saturdays in Champaign. The Big Ten previously raised the bar. The SEC has now answered and responded by raising the bar. And guess what? Now it's on the Big Ten to meet it. So I'll throw this at you, Locked On Illini Nation. Do you want to see Illinois continue to schedule one heavy hitter each year moving forward? Or do you like having those in-state games against Eastern Illinois or a MAC school to balance things out? Because this is the future of college football. Very rarely do things revert back. And right now, Illinois is right in the middle of everything. I understand the concern about, hey, you add another power conference opponent, well, that potentially adds another loss to the Illini schedule. Well, again, what I tried to reiterate before is the Big Ten Conference now, if they adopt this like the SEC will, I think resumes are going to matter more. And then all of a sudden, when you see that 9-3 tough schedule against a 10-2 versus lighter schedule, I think that's going to be noticed by the playoff committee, which, quite honestly, let's be honest, we know is going to automatically favor the SEC and the Big Ten Conference anyway. So I don't think that's going to be as big of a deal as some might initially think. But I'm curious on your guys' thoughts. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week one even kicks off, this is your moment. So take a flyer on the MVP race. Caleb Williams, I see you. Crown your champion in August. That's right, Super Bears, Super Bowls. Or parlay your division winner, dark horses. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. And welcome back to Locked On Illini. We've been doing our 2025 team previews all week long, and today we're going to get to an area that sometimes gets ignored, but absolutely could win or lose games. And that, of course, is the special teams, which was also, by the way, requested by a listener of the show. So here you go. We already know that Bret Bielema preaches tough, smart, and dependable. And nowhere does that mantra show up more than on special teams. Illinois heads into 2025 with one of its most complete and talented groups in recent memory. We have what seems to be a very steady and improving kicker, now a big-time punter who's a transfer, and a couple options, let's just say, when it comes to return men in college football. So today we're going to break down every unit, the kicker, punter, the return game, coverage, and what this all could mean, and how they can contribute to the Illini season. Let's start first with the kicker, David Olano, a Naperville kid. Shout out Naperville. A junior, really one of those unsung heroes from last season. He went 17 for 20 on field goals in 2024, 85%, which was fifth best in the Big Ten and top 35 nationally. Very legitimate. More importantly, he was automatic inside 40 yards, 12 for 12. And Illinois fans knows, and in the Big Ten, with November winds swirling and games coming down to a single possession, that kind of reliability is priceless. Olano's long was 50 yards, so he showed last year that he's got range. And while he may not be considered a guy with a cannon leg, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like every week I'm hearing news stories about assistant coaches talking about David now hitting field goals from the 60-plus range. Now, whether he's able to do it in a game, I don't know, and that's going to be, we're just going to have to sit and wait and see. But I will say that it should give you a little bit more confidence that his numbers outside the 40, maybe even up to the 45, can improve. And even that, again, those extra 5-10 yards, that's huge. He made 38 of 39 extra points, and that one miss is the only blemish. That consistency is what you're seeking from your kicker, and that's what David Olano provides. Now, we did have a little wrinkle. Kickoffs last year were handled by Ethan Michalski, who now, as most of you probably know, is gone. We think Alano can handle it if needed, but Illinois, just in case, did bring in North Carolina transfer Lucas Osada. He, I think, is considered the kicker of the future, but for 2025, unless something really drastically changes, I think it's clear-cut that David Alano is that guy. Bottom line is you've got a very reliable kicker who doesn't blink under pressure. And that in itself could swing multiple games for Illinois and their tough schedule. Now let's talk about what may be the biggest special teams addition, and that's punter Keelan Cummins. And yeah, Illini fans, we're going to talk punters. Quite honestly, because this guy's a difference maker. Crimmins. Did I say Cummins earlier? Crimmins is an Australian transfer who spent last year at Purdue. He averaged 44.9 yards per game on every punt on 64 kicks. That's third best in the Big Ten and 13th nationally. Elite production from a punter. And if you watched Illinois football in 2024, you know that there were plenty of moments where flipping the field was an absolute challenge. This is where Crimmins, hopefully, can come in and excel. You know, Crimmins is 6'3" and 225 pounds. That's a big boy. That's a strong boy. And he's versatile. He can do the Aussie rollout style that creates funky bounces, or he can just be traditional and boom it. That, again, is you don't think about needing versatility when it comes to your kicking game, but when you're looking for every single advantage you can find in the modern game, that can absolutely be one. You're going to see, especially in the Big Ten Conference and where we play games, you're going to see a lot of wind. You're going to absolutely see a lot of rain. There's going to be snow on the ground. You need to have a punter who has the toolbox to adapt to whatever conditions might present themselves. Phil Steele and Athlon both named Crimmins to their preseason All-Big Ten. I believe it was the fourth team. Regardless, it may be fourth team, but at least that shows you that he comes into the season already having respect. And also, don't forget, Illinois did add another Aussie. I believe his name was Lars Rao. I think he's going to be the backup, but make no mistake, Crimmins is the guy. And if he can do for Illinois this year what he did for Purdue last year, I think between Alano and Crimmins, Illinois is going to be basically as good at the special team kicking game as anybody in the conference. And that in itself can win some hidden yardage battles that, quite honestly, we lost last year. As for the return game, I've heard two names. I don't think Bret's made it official. I don't think Bret's going to make anything official. I think he mentioned this week that he's not going to be providing depth charts anymore. But there's two names I'm hearing. One guy who's supposed to be the perceived favorite, and that was senior Hank Beatty. I don't need to tell you about Hank. The guy's electric. Last season, Beatty led the Big Ten and finished fourth in the country in punt return average, averaging 14.1 yards per return. Crazy. He had 310 punt return yards, which is the second most in school history. He was all Big Ten as a returner. He got an honorable mention as an All-American, and now he's on the Paul Hornung Award watch list. When you got a guy who has those accolades and can flip the field or even take one to the house, again, I don't have to tell you, you can change a game. And Beatty did that multiple times in 2024. He has vision. We know he's fearless, and he's very slippery in the open field. And also, with kick returner Kanari Welcher transferring out, Beatty is likely going to handle both punts and kicks this season. That's a lot of responsibility, and you do wonder, can his body hold up with special teams, and especially considering we're going to be counting on him so much on the offensive side as well. I get the concern, but I also understand that he's just too good to use. Let's also not forget the other option. Khalil Valentine was mentioned by Bret Bielema this past week. Khalil's a guy who I've talked about on this show plenty of times. I argued within myself to make him my flag player for this upcoming season. I really like his game, but I didn't, because if he becomes a flag player for Illinois this year, that probably means bad news because something might have happened to Caden Fagan and Aiden Lawfrey. But I think Khalil absolutely has a quickness and speed that could excel in the return game. And so if Bret is entertaining that as an option, I 100% understand. And it's a way to get one of your playmakers on the field. And that's always what you want to do. Again, when you talk about all our potential options at returners, this is where Illinois kind of stands out. Not every Big Ten team has the kind of return weapons that we do. They're both the kind of players that could turn a close Minnesota game or a Maryland game into Illinois' favor with just one big play. Now, we'll wrap it up with the coverage units. We know coverage units and long snappers aren't glamorous, but if you're a football guy, you absolutely know that those positions matter. And here's the good news. Illinois has been steady here. No major shakeups, no big issues flagged in camp, and the emphasis seems to be on discipline, lane integrity, and tackling, essentially the fundamentals. Bret Bielema's culture has made Illinois very sound on special teams, and that's half the battle. You don't want coverage breakdowns to give away free touchdowns. You want tough, smart, and dependable. And that's what Illinois is growing itself to becoming. So where does Illinois rank when it comes to the entire Big Ten, when it comes to the special teams? According to multiple previews, Illinois is projected about 6th in the league for special teams heading into 2025. I mean, not elite, but still kind of where you want to be in an 18-team conference, especially where we all know where this program is coming from just a couple of years ago, where we were struggling to find consistency at kicker, not flipping fields, and not threatening return game. I mean, this is a huge leap for where we were. The truth is, Illinois is something a lot of other teams aren't, and that's balanced. We have that steady kicker. We have what looks like a very elite punter, and we have possibly 2 game-breaking return men. That's a trio that other teams don't necessarily have, and that's a trio that maybe at some point can win you ball games, especially in the Big Ten, where so many games come to a single possession. You need those hidden yards, those clutch kicks, those sudden momentum swings. And right now, I think Illinois has all of that lined up for 2025. So before we wrap everything up, here are the big questions that, of course, I'm going to be watching in fall. Will the staff trust Alano beyond 50 yards, or are they going to save him for those high percentage kicks and maybe sprinkle in Osada? I mean, keep in mind, coaches love to talk in the off season during camps. They want to elevate position players or a kicker's confidence level. But the only way to really show the confidence is to put the kicker on the field and in those situations. Also, how quickly does Crimmins adapt to Champagne's conditions and the Illinois scheme? How much can Hank Beatty handle punts, kicks, and be a focus point on the offense? Can he stay healthy all year? Can Illinois keep winning the hidden yardage battle in coverage, which was actually a strength in 2024? And also, what happens if any of these guys that I mentioned earlier today get hurt? Do we have the depth behind them? All those are storylines that could decide a close game in October or November. So bottom line, Locked On Nation, in 2025, special teams are not just a compliment, they're a strength. You got a kicker you can trust, a punter who can flip the field, and potentially 2 return men who can break a game wide open. And when you look at Illinois' schedule, with so many toss-up games, those hidden plays could be the difference between 6-6 and 9-3, between another bowl game and maybe pushing for a Big Ten title run. So the next time you're watching a game at Memorial Stadium and you see Hank Beatty line up for a punt return or Crimmins boom one from 55 yards, remember, special teams matter. And in 2025, that might be the edge that Illinois needs. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Ready. Rugiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rugiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. If traditional options haven't worked, Rugiet might have the answer. Over 150,000 men have already made the switch. And you can even read the real customer reviews right on their site. It's helping a lot of people feel more confident and present in the moment. Head on over to Rugiet.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off today. That's Rugiet.com/LockedOnCollege and use promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rugiet website for full safety information. All right, a couple things before I let you go. Bret Bielema did say that freshman defensive back Taiwan Cox, what am I saying? Had an injury when he was in high school, and that kind of resurfaced here. We're still getting all the tests and everything, but he's a guy who potentially we may lose for the major part of this season. He also gave an update on J.C. Davis, who he thinks is going to be ready for next week's game against Western Illinois. He is out of the boot. He didn't confirm that he was going to play, but I think obviously, as I mentioned before, we're not going to need J.C. Davis to beat Western Illinois, but we are going to need J.C. Davis and that offensive line to be completely in sync when it comes to our Week 2 matchup in Durham against the Duke Blue Devils, who are going to be a very, very good football team, and especially on the defensive end. So hopefully JC gets healthy. We're going to need him because football season is right around the corner. And I guess we've been very fortunate so far, and I'm saying this, that there haven't been any major injuries when it comes to camp, but now the real games are going to start. And so now we're going to kind of see who's going to be in and who's going to be out. Speaking of, if you're wanting to go watch the game, depending on when you're watching this, Friday is when this episode is being released. I am announcing the first winner of 2 tickets to the Western Illinois game. I'm going to be doing this all season long. For every home game on the schedule this year, I'm going to be giving 2 tickets away. If you're interested, at least for week 1, all you have to do is join the Discord, the Talk Illini Discord. The link should be in the description. Very easy instructions. I promise you, very easy. I'm going to announce the winner sometime this evening. So if you are watching this on Friday, you probably still have a chance to win. But even if you don't, next week, I'm going to announce a new challenge, and you can win tickets to the 3rd game, which is Western Michigan. I'll be giving those tickets away as well. So again, join the Discord, not only because you can have all-day conversations with Illini fans, but also because you might just get free tickets to go watch the Illini play. That's going to just about wrap it up for this edition of Locked On Illini. Thank you for making us your first listen. For your second listen, check out the Portal Show. Brian Smith has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the Portal on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Please, on your way out, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I've got content for you coming out this weekend. Plus, next week, I got some big shows. I'm going to be doing my official record prediction show. I don't know if it's going to be on Monday or Tuesday. And trust me, this is still something I'm going back and forth on. Can't wait to do that. Drop your official predictions below in the comment section. I absolutely want to know what you guys think. I might read a couple off on an episode next week. Let me know what you think. Until next time, ILL. Love you guys.